Loral Langemeier's weekly market awareness update. Very happy to have you here. Whether you're joining us from our Zoom room, our Facebook Millionaires in Training group, or anywhere else on our social platforms across the web, we are very happy to have you here and help you change your conversation about money. Today, we're going to be answering your questions live and direct. And if you would like to have your question answered, simply type it into the chat box, the Q&A box if you're on Zoom or on any one of the social platforms. Just send us a direct message or a post and we'll be happy to try and answer that question here live. As we get started, want to know not only where are you coming from, but we're getting up to the halfway point of the year, and we want to know, are you halfway to hitting your goals? So as we get started, let us know where you're coming from. Let us know if you're halfway to your goals as we get started. So Laurel, how are we doing today, ma'am?
We are good, and we are at our 14th day. So we had about 30 people, I know, when we launched 2 weeks ago in our Rack Up Your Revenue. So Rack Up Your Revenue is exactly that. What do you get? Money. So again, if you're in the chat, are you in Rack Up Your Revenue? How much money have you made? And we need to actually probably put a little accountability out there. So we're not seeing what you're making. Again, part of this was you need to, be communicating into our organization. So here's what I want to clean up. So Steve, let's make it really clear on our Rack Up Your Revenue page. 775-588-9200. You will call in your results daily to either Molly, Christian, or Lavelle. You're going to get connected to them. We only have 37 people. Of our hundreds of thousands of potential people, I can't believe only 37 want to rack up their revenue. Totally ridiculous. So just from a number standpoint, but let's focus on the 37 who are excited. I will need you to call in, get attached to one of our 3 amazing women, either Kristen, Molly, or Lavelle, and call them every day. Next 14 days, you need to be making money. We don't care what it is. They can give you some insights. Obviously, they've been an organization for, I think, years now, all 3 of them. And if you're really stuck and you are in a program, which I think most of you, if I look on our chat, are, then you need to get to Fast Cash, because Fast Cash is where you would have your coaching on this to continue to rack up your revenue. And a lot of you, again, this is your integrity check. That's what I love about Rack Up Your Revenue. This isn't about what Thomas or Steve and I, we're not going to put any pixie dust on you. This is you getting up in the morning and saying, I'm going to generate revenue. I'm going to be a revenue producer today. So what is it that you're going to, create, sell? What's the product or service you're going to sell to somebody? And get on the phone and do some ask, tell, asks. So we have 37. We need that number to have a couple zeros on it for the amount of people in this challenge, because we know that many people need to be making money and getting in the challenge. So we'll provide a little more instruction, and we'll include our 3 amazing women who live and work in the office, not really like live there, but they're there every day, so they can take your calls and you can report to them how much money you're making if you need somebody to be accountable. What else would you say, Thomas? A lot of it, I shouldn't say this is a mindset, this is action. But it's driven by how you're getting up. Like, what are you mentally thinking about? Are you like busy with all your little tasks of your day that actually have nothing to do with creating revenue? A lot of this needs to be a pattern interrupt. Like, what are you thinking about and what are you doing to generate and focus on your revenue for the day? Then you can go off to do the busy shit.
And I think what's interesting, Laurel, is we have the videos from David, we have the videos from Mel that talk a little bit about what that daily accountability to themselves, that daily effort of flexing their money-making muscles has led to them and the results that they are seeing as a result of it. So in some ways, when you're doing that on a regular basis, the gains at first can be a little bit smaller, but it does have an incredible compounding effect the more that you do it, and getting to a place where some of these folks didn't even think it was possible that they would be having the kind of months they are. But that's the proof of the pudding, the proof of the process that you, Laurel, teach about and have proven out for, literally hundreds, if not thousands of people.
Yep. So anybody make money? Jamie and out there. Who else is out there? John, I know Eileen's out there. Chuck's out there. Shawar's out there. Who's making some money every day? What kind of revenue y'all making, and what are you doing to create it? Those of you that if you're not on and you're out of live stream, put it into our live feeds. What kind of money are you making on a daily basis, right? What are you selling? We just came live with another funnel. A lot of you that have known us for a while, we've revamped our expression of your power. It's just a good old great. A lot of people buy it. We have a brand new one that we're selling on a regular basis called 21 Ways to Wealth. That's like, these are all through Facebook ads. So we know what we're doing to create revenue every day. We have online, we've got our store, we've got our dialing team. We're always on it and making it. So the whole rack up your revenue is to get your mind shift in the way that you're getting up and thinking, I need to create a sale today. I need to serve somebody today. So Thomas, are there questions from the Ask Loral? Awesome. Look at that. 5,000 this week. It's coming. Good for you. Good for you. I'm not going to chastise you. I have no need to. This is you. This is all about you. You have such interesting psychology that keeps you from not doing anything. I have nothing to do with it. You do not get to blame me. You don't get to say I chastise you. I'm trying to coach you. So I think I'd open up and be, hey, how about being coachable?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you aren't doing that you've been around this long and still aren't doing it? So it is on your side. Sorry, I'm not going to say sorry about that. That's just the truth. Nancy, good job. 1350. Awesome. Awesome. See, you all have something you could do. You all have an educate. You have something right now, somebody needs right now. And that's got to be the urgency of the Ask, Tell, Ask is what could I do? What's one thing I could do today to serve your life in the topic, right? What's one thing I could do? What I would say if I was some of you not making money, what's one thing I could do to teach you about money today? How can we start doing one thing today?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that isn't getting in touch with Thomas. You have a database, you have a phone. Call somebody, ask that question. What's one thing I could do? Say for $20, I'll serve you today. And whatever that is, if it's 20 minutes of your time, it's a report that you're going to send out. If it's an affiliate, send them a book or whatever you're going to send them. This is no excuse zone.
And Laurel, part of this is just being creative with your ability to make money. I mean, I think you've obviously worked with Mel Mason on this process itself, and Mel's gotten very creative in what she is selling and how she has made the money. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if the person's like, you know, and well, first of all, if you say, what's one thing I can help you with today, and the answer, then that's what they want. So then it's about pricing. If you say, well, for 20 minutes, for $20, I can work you with that. And they say, well, I only have $10. So great, I'll take 10. So this is about, so I would say it's in addition to being creative, it's being open. It's like, that's what you're going to get today. And it's not about the dollar amounts in the beginning. It's about the consistency of you producing those conversations. As Randy said, and we say, you're paid for the conversations you have. And a lot of you, if you're not having conversations, you're not making money. So you need to be in those conversations with people and asking the right revenue generating questions. All right. And those, again, for those of you that, if you are on Facebook, go to the Millionaires in Training on a regular basis. We are so supportive of you just doing Ask, Tell, Ask and creating that marketplace out in our Millionaires in Training Facebook group. So be out there. At 1 o'clock today is our second live. Every Tuesday at 12 noon, we're live here to answer any questions people have. So if you want to dig up a few questions, Thomas, out of the Ask Loral, you know, thousands and thousands of questions that people ask us, let's go there. And if you are on LinkedIn or Clubhouse at 1 o'clock, so 12 noon on Tuesday, we're live here. And then at 1 o'clock, we go live on Clubhouse, another forum in our Millionaire Maker Club to ask questions. And, you know, just disconnect the barriers. Those of you in the big table, we have 4 o'clock today. So it is always, we're always here. There's no shortage of a place where you can ask questions and get the answers you need to keep making money.
So let's keep it in the area of sales. I had a question here from Jason. He says, what do most people miss when doing their ATAs? And for those of you who are just joining us or are hearing about ATS for the first time, that is Laurel's proprietary selling process called an Ask, Tell, Ask that we use a lot in our community. So Laurel, what's the biggest mistake you see when people are doing the ATAs?
Well, the first mistake, and there's a lot of mistakes, but the first one is typically that you are disqualifying yourself. Like, I'm just a beginner. I'm sort of new at this. I'm embarrassed or whatever. Like, it's not about you. This is about the other person. So this is, I'm an expert in, right? So if I'm saying my name's Laurel, I'm a money expert, right? What's the one thing I could help you with today? So I'd say it's disqualifying. It's not getting directly to the point. It's not creating that urgency statement of what's the one thing I could do today, because that means you're going to do it today. You're going to fulfill today. You're going to make the money today. So there's not enough urgency. And then there's just a lot of extra language and statements and qualifiers that don't need to be in the interaction. Those are typically the first on the ask. And then what happens is, if the interaction isn't moving along, then the person starting to do the ask goes into a tell of, let me tell you how I could help you. And that is the death of all sales.
Got it. Very good. So had a couple of people who are wanting to know, they've got a little bit of money and they're wanting to know specifically what areas would you consider they do their due diligence in at this moment. Does that make sense?
No.
So in terms of people, oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's just a wide, I love how people don't ask questions. I mean, due diligence in what area? What are you interested, what are you into? That's like a non-answerable. I mean, go ahead and
wait. Let me put a different spin on it. Then we have a lot of people who are asking what areas should they look at, like real estate, cryptocurrencies, cannabis. Like, what are some of the areas that if you have like one person here who is Rochelle has $31,000 in a Roth IRA that's stagnant? What would be some areas that she should look at, or what would be your response to that?
Well, first of all, become a client. So you actually learn money rules and have a plan instead of just, so to me, a lot of those questions are shotgun. So I don't know, first of all, what do you have? You need a diversified portfolio is what I would say. If you're mature, if you're a beginner and you've got $5, $10, $31,000, I would go for the stuff that could put you in a path to create education. So Flip Wall Street, clearly a place that you can get into the market. It will take you out. There's a software that's structured for that. Real estate notes. Now, you're going to go partner with anybody for $31,000? No. Tim will pay you 10% on a construction note. That's a non-accredited, easy peasy start. To go out and do your own, that's not enough for 31 grand. You could partner with a bunch of people. So obviously real estate, flip are easy, simple ones. Proper life insurance, which a lot of people need, is another one. Should people do cryptocurrencies and digital currencies? Yes, I think there's a lot of people that are doing a lot. I think people are doing fairly well out there. Can you liquidate? All right. So if you took your Roth, if you do your Roth through Horizon, which is the company we're really supporting, there is a Bitcoin IRA that you can actually, or actually the other way, it's IRA Bitcoin. And you can, and they'll actually do the investing for you through your Roth. You can't do your Roth by yourself because you can't have custodian rights over it. So you're going to have to get some investable asset group like that actually is going to support it. So inside of Horizon, we have one. I know somebody's trying to do Coinbase through the Roth and they're not getting very far because you don't have custodial rights and most of the groups won't work with them. So I always say those for beginners, those are the three. I would look at, construction loans. I look at flip. I put life insurance, and then I would say, if you want to do some digital currencies, but again, you should be diverse. So what are you gonna do with $31,000? You're gonna divide that by 4. I mean, you barely have 7,000 per thing. A lot of that's not enough. So I just say for that kind of money, put your money in flip, sit on it for a while, grow that up to 50,000 so you have some real money to work with, and then begin again.
Got it. Perfect. Have a question from Brenda. Brenda wants to know, how do I break money blocks that were subconsciously instilled from me from childhood?
Decide what you want. So first of all, expression of your power would be where I would go, because that's the work I do with Bob Proctor to kind of untangle all that. And we have a very called the creative strategic process, which takes you out of that. And then just on your own is, what do you want? Like I would do almost a pro and con or inherited behaviors versus what you want behaviors, and start writing down all the weird things, inherited behaviors you do to yourself. So you make a list of what is, and then you're going to flip it. You're going to flip it to the positive and present and say, so how do I want to be today? Because those are all choices. They are not deeply, they might be deeply ingrained and they are changed like that. They are changed on a choice. They're changed on a decision that you're willing to be held highly accountable for. So I would do expression of your power. So I don't know if we have that link to the mini version of that, but that is just a great way. or read my Yes Energy book, where I really walk through, the differences of, how do you get yourself from there's a whole formula that I give in the Yes Energy book of how do you move yourself out of that no energy into yes energy, and how do you do that?
Ricky wants to know, what's the best way to make money in real estate?
These are such ridiculous questions. Sorry, I'm just not in a super open, flexible space of like these. How do you make it? Go invest in it. Go put in some contracts. I mean, most people who say they want to do real estate have never even put in a contract. How many contracts are you putting in per day if you're serious about it? And you say, well, I don't have the money. Well, then go find a hired money lending partner, another person's money. Get into our real estate acceleration coaching program. Flip a house. You say, well, how do I flip a house? Go put an offer in on one of them. Start a property management company. Start your version of what 1-800 Got Junk and liquidate houses. There's tons of properties. There's tons of spaces around real estate to make money. So be specific. How do you start? I would love for you guys to come live to a Q&A. Like, what are your real life questions so we can have a dialogue about the stagnant question isn't really helping. Again, 1 o'clock, we have our Millionaire Maker Club. Do you want to get that link from Steve, or Steve put our link in to our clubhouse where we take questions. And that way you can say, well, how do I make money? And I can ask a question, and then we are in more of a conversation about how to do that. So there's our clubhouse link.
Perfect. There we go.
There we go.
On top of that, we did have one person asking about, what do you think about assisted senior living facilities?
I think they're fabulous. I think that that a lot of 2 places are going to be a lot of conversions. We're going to see community colleges convert. We're going to see strip malls convert, or other malls convert, as this digital world, which we knew was coming, really forced in by COVID. And there's a huge shortage of senior assisted living facilities. So the real question is, what are you going to do about it? Just because I think it's fabulous, what are you going to do now about it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So Christopher had a question. He said, I signed up again, still waiting for an email return from Steve, if our team is out watching Molly, Kristen, or Lavelle, have Christopher get a response to being in our room. So next week, again, we are doing our marketplace every 3 weeks now, going on well over a year. June 17th and 18th, and we'll make sure we reach out and get you all confirmed. If you have not been, if you have been before, you got to sign up to go to the graduate marketplace. Again, Molly, Kristen, and Lavelle take those inbound calls and make sure you are set up in the right place where you need to be. Awesome.
And again, folks, if you have questions, go ahead, put them into the Q&A box, the chat box, or if you're joining us on social media, you can go ahead and type up your questions on the live stream there as well, too. We're happy to answer those right now. Here's a question from Leslie. What's an easy and inexpensive way to get new eyeballs on your website?
What's easy, and just go to other social channels. So join our Millionaires in Training, and talk out there. Join other people's Facebook groups. Have conversations through LinkedIn. Jump on our clubhouse. I would go to social channels as a way to get more eyeballs, and then do some conversions over to your own pages. What would you say, Thomas? That's a good question back for you too.
Well, I like what you've done in terms of, especially on Clubhouse, right? And part of it is, what can you do to leverage other people's networks, leverage other people's lists? It doesn't necessarily mean you have to pay to do that, but as we talk about, like in the Millionaire Maker meetup and marketplace, we talk about JVs, we talk about affiliate marketing. So are there people who out there who have lists of your ideal client? And are there ways you can cross promote one another? Are there ways that you would be able to strike up a deal that helps both businesses, that you're able to drive traffic appropriately? So I think part of it is getting creative with your marketing, or seeing what else is out there, because essentially it's just attention arbitrage. And yes, we use Facebook on a daily basis for lead generation, and it does provide a good source of leads. But as you're starting your business, as you're starting out, there is that concern of, bootstrapping or, keeping everything on a budget. And any way you can communicate with your ideal buyers is ideal. So look at who has your customers already, or who is someone you can serve for a, word of mouth type marketing, as a presentation, as a webinar. What could it be? And get creative with how you're serving folks. And you'll find that there are some ways to cost effectively market your business and or website.
Yep.
All right.
All right. What other? Let's answer a few more questions. Those of you out in the chat, if you have a question, what is the question? You got me live with you right now. May even bring you live to ask the question. What makes sense? Are you familiar with a dump and swap for a 1031 exchange, taking a family farm out of a trust before closing, putting it in personal entity? Yes, I am familiar with those. And yes, I'm familiar with them, right? I think it's a lot of workaround the way that they're doing it. Why not just keep it in the trust and keep it in the entity, depending on how you're going to buy it? So Kent, you got to ask a few more questions. I know, Kent, you've asked about coming up to Boise. Again, the 22nd, and Steve, we gotta make sure the whole team is communicating. Brianna needs to send out some communications. The real estate registration starting at 4 o'clock at the hotel, the Grove Hotel. The big table will be wrapping up around 3. We'll take an hour break. Real estate tour registration starts at 4. We're starting at 4:30 in classroom. So I know you are looking at coming up. Again, those are where you're going to get like great answers on the real estate side. So from about 4:30 to 7, we'll be in classroom. Everybody will go out for dinner. Then the 23rd, we load up on the vans or buses, whichever, depending on the number of people who show up. And we actually go out. An extraordinary tour we have planned for you. We just started the development of pours of a bunch of fourplexes, have our RV park. We're talking to Maverick about joining us on our RV park and part of our land. We aren't going to actually probably drive out and see that. That's quite a ways out of town, out on the river. We've got 3 developments where we have actually finished a huge bunch of buildings, moving it over to HOAs so they can oversee it. It's brilliant. 4 people in this trust that want to go their own ways. So, I mean, your 1031 and your 1031 exchange lawyers should be very well versed in that. I mean, typically you would transact out of the entity, and then one of you should take the entity. I don't ever land entities. I'm always the one that puts them back on a shelf and repurposes them. You save cost. More importantly, you save time, credit, and you maintain the history of that entity and the trust. So, that's not enough to go with. Sorry, I can't. You're going to have to come live and ask the question. I don't know why 4 people, unless you're in a family, would be in a trust. No one but my family would be in a trust with me, ever. Maybe a land trust, but not a typical trust. But there's easy ways to, it's your family, oh yay. So then you just all rotate it. You take the same entity, do a 1031 exchange, that entity should still maintain in trust. You do not have to take that entity out of trust to do a 1031. And by the way, our lovely people up in Washington are trying to take away a 1031 exchange. So I would highly encourage you to talk to your senators, your congressmen, on the right side of that conversation about the ridiculousness of that. Taking a 1031 away, they want to take your Roths away. They want to also take away the massiveness of the estate planning and the legacy planning that is in play for higher net worth people. All ridiculous moves. So be loud about that, really loud. 1031s doing the exchange will blow out the ability for real estate folks to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
So be loud about those. All right. But Kent, I'm just going to, if you do not take it out of the trust, you just take the entity, it 1031s into another, the new entity owns it, it moves out of the entity. That's not a lot of trust paperwork if you're operating through the entity, which is where the easiest accessibility of your real estate is to keep it inside the entity, move the entity through the 1031, not the trust. The trust is just the owners of the entity. Should be how it is, but you don't have to do anything different, like take it away. Good question. All right, let's do one more question for the day.
Okay. So it's a question from John. He wants to know about, one, what do you think about precious metals? And two, when do you consider them or become involved in investing or hedging with them, if that makes sense?
That's up to you. It's not my world. I have a bunch of gold. I have a bunch of silver. I've got diamonds. I've got all sorts of stuff that I've exchanged. The real question is, do you need it to transact? I think too many beginner investors are parking money in gold and silver. It's not transactable. In Utah, some of it, depending on actually how you get, there are some gold dollars now actually in Utah. But outside of that, it's not transactable, which is the same thing I say about a lot of digital currencies, is if you are needing it to be liquid so you can actually transact it, none of those are the best places to keep it. So if you know how to transact it and can find ways to transact it, that would be great. Up to you how you want to do it. Up to you how you want to do it. So again, rack up your revenue in order and sequence. A lot of you need to be focused on your revenue and generating more revenue, putting that money to work in investments. So the good part of today is we got a lot of diversified assets, in the conversation. If you only have small amounts of money though, I mean, less than 100, I mean, and you want to do 5 assets, that's 20,000 per, that's not a bad deal. But some of you have very, very little and you're putting in very non-transactable and non-liquid, assets. So you put things in gold and silver and you need it next month to pay bills or to use it to buy a database system or really work on your company, you don't have transactable. You're going to have to go back out and sell that gold or silver. And again, then you got price fluctuations and issues, whether you made or lost money. So I think those would not be beginner moves, not in my book. Okay. So a few last reminders, rack up your revenue. We've only got 37. Please share it, go across the board, and help, a lot of other people be in this. Like make it be fun. Making money can be fun. It doesn't have to be this arduous task that a lot of you have framed or coded it psychologically. So rack up your revenues, fun campaign next week, our marketplace and graduate marketplace. Graduates, you come back around 3:00 on Friday is when you can click in and be available. And on our side, Steve, Thomas, be very rigorous to not let graduates in until 3:00. I needed to stay on point to what we say and that we honor that word to let our undergrads have as much time as they want without the sharks of the graduate world coming to eat them alive. Because I'll tell you, some of those graduates, they have this thing dialed. They know exactly how to play the game. And some of you who are struggling, you want to follow, like a Dr. Stacy, who's out every time. You got some players out there who know how to play this marketplace really well, and they make it part of their business model to be here every 3 weeks in the graduate marketplace. And they are on Fast Cash to hone their skills, and they're in graduate marketplace every 3 weeks to make money. Some of you you just don't get it. I don't know how you don't get it. It is so laid out to come to Fast Cash. You practice with Steve and Thomas, really create excellence in your talk track. And then every 3 weeks, 18th and then through the 19th, you come to our marketplace and make money. It's a built-in structure. And then what I would do if I was you, take these same structures and go into other social channels and behave the same way. The whole goal is to build your database and create great ATA SLS offers to that list. So really ready to go. I want to go back up through the chat. I just saw another one. When it says, what is a summit and how does one use it to build revenue? So think of our marketplace like a summit. A summit is a very staged event that is run by a promoter. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on a summit of Eric Swanson. It's a closed summit. It's only to his mastermind group, and I will be with him for an hour and a half. I'll be presenting all my concepts and topics. I'll be offering them a marketplace, and it's something that he's hosting me to. So I'm hosted on a lot of summits where I come and I present our offers to them. So people can either, like we do one every 3 weeks. So we don't call it a summit, we call it a marketplace, but essentially it's a summit. Any other way you'd answer that, Thomas? I mean,
summits are a great way to potentially get your name in front of new audiences and new people you may work with. But as we're coming out of the COVID coma, a lot of people want to get back to that face-to-face. And so if you can use a summit, but understand that world of getting back to live and talking on stages is coming back. I don't want to tease it too much, but Loral, you had an amazing podcast with your friend Glenn Morshower recently, and Glenn talked about how people want to get back to that energy of the stage, how they want to see people, and so summits, the online, version of it is fine, but understand that they're the right events and the right times and places that you need to go to connect with the right customers. And so as we get off of Zoom over the past year, we're going back to the live stages.
I don't think we're going to get out of
might
here.
be something to take a look.
I'm not sorry, I'm interrupting because
you're done.
I'm not promoting anybody go back out to live stages. All the other people's stages, we won't be reproducing live stages.
Well, I don't want to talk about Glenn's business model, but he has some similar thoughts there. I mean, it is going to be a great a podcast, 2 episodes when we get it out there. It's going to be phenomenal. But yeah, I just think at the end of the day, really evaluating how you're putting your message out there and at what venues is a critical piece to being successful, because online summits right now are, I don't want to say dying, but getting phased out in some ways to the reality of COVID openings taking place.
Yep. Well, and he teaches, he's got a talent agency essentially and acting agency, and he's not going back out live. In fact, he even released his brick and mortar, all his mortgages and rents.
Yep.
And took it all remote. So you got to be kind of sleeping if you've been to our marketplace over and over and over, and then Fast Cash and Graduate Marketplace to not get it. So if you're not making money, you've really got to say, what are you doing all day to just be wandering around? Because it's really clear, like, what are you going to offer people? How are you going to change your life? And you got to be doing it every day. Real estate, there's like your activity every day is you put in contracts every day. Right? You put offers in every day. Now, would I encourage somebody to be on a buyer side right now? Depends. There's some great apartment purchase. Justin, I've had a great meeting yesterday about some amazing, apartments, but that's at the dawn of a whole bunch of people not paying rent too. So you got to be very careful what you're acquiring if you're acquiring apartments. My God, commercial real estate is for sale. So yeah, it's for sale, but don't have any illusions that you're going to find people who are going to want to come and rent your commercial space right now. Right. So I just would be extremely cautious on the buying side. I mean, you're in a runaway market that makes 2006 look like it never topped. So you got to be really careful on the buy side. On the sell side, golden parachutes everywhere. And what's coming, so I would kind of like get to if I had a plan for some of you that had smaller amounts of money, like the $31,000 person, I would go get focused on your cash machine, make a lot of money, stock up those bank accounts, put it in flip so it has some safekeeping for a little while. And I would wait for it, because we've got a foreclosure rush that's kind of come through in droves. I mean, people who have no idea what they were doing, and they listened to the wrong people around how to pay or not pay your mortgage, and they're going to get foreclosed on. It's already happening. It's not the hot part of that market's not here yet. So as we head into Q3 is when I think the foreclosure market will be really, really awesome. And you're going to want to have money put away to be buying that. So you're going to see that coming. The minimum to start flip, it's free, Cheryl. So if you guys put in, the flip, just go there and get a free flip account. You can put $100, $500, just start. So that actually, Cheryl, knowing where you are would be a great place for you. Just focus on making money, Cheryl, and put all the extra money you have into flip for now. And then we'll get to more money rules later in the big table when you have more and more money put away. All right. So again, those of you, if you've not downloaded my podcast, we're not going to give you a podcast link. You can go listen to them through the integratedwealthsystems.com website. I'd prefer you go get them on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, go out to one of the podcast processes and applications and download my app through there. Download the app and get my podcast and be a regular listener to it. It's Loral's Real Money Talks, and it's a podcast that more and more people are wanting to listen to. And is it the right time to sell? Absolutely. My God, it's like, I don't know a market where it's not good to sell right now. Do you, Thomas? I mean, there's not a place in the country. I mean, the only places that I could say is some of the Californians are realizing they're not getting the price. And New York, New Jersey, same thing. I mean, people are exiting those states in droves, as they should be, because the politics are ridiculous. So you may not get your price. And I know, Nancy, I believe you're in California, so you may not get your price anymore. That initial wave is over. But, you know, California's California. People are always going to want to live there. It's beautiful. Oh, you're in Chicago. A lot of people are moving out of there too. So when you're moving out of those cities where they don't want the chaos anymore, you may not be on the upside. I'd lean towards really smart brokers and agents to look at what your offer prices could be, especially if it's your primary residence. The good news is you can move the 250 to 500,000 forward to your next home without any taxable event. Mm. Yeah, they can come to the Caribbean. Getting back into the countries are kind of interesting right now. All right. So again, rack up your revenue. Go join us. Be here next week. Next week, we're going to talk more about just how to rack up your revenue, what we're doing, and we'll do more Q&A as we continue through the summer. But our whole summer intention is that you make more and more money. With more money, you can invest more and we can have more sophisticated conversations. So look forward to that. Those of you will be back in 19 minutes. We'll be on Clubhouse. So jump in and join right then. All right. And you can sign up. Yeah, you can absolutely use an affiliate link and sign up clients to Flip. Absolutely. We got some good stuff on the horizon with Flip. I just hooked up with Mr. Harry Dent. Very interested in putting that through his community. So that will be a phenomenal run we'll make with those guys. So again, talk to you top of the hour if you're going to go to Clubhouse, or we will be back 12 noon next Tuesday, same channel. And then next Thursday, we will be with our marketplace. So be back there. I'll see you in the graduate marketplace. Take care.